everyone mostly here. I was just waiting to see what would happen. Okay.
I knew he was.
Rob Katsuno has been here before to perform for us, but I don't believe it was a Ghost Town feature. We set up a separate event for him. Rob Katsuno has been employed as a Boeing jet design engineer, a Mitsubishi joint venture broker, a Morgan Stanley investment banker in New York and Tokyo. He holds an MBA from UCLA and currently works as an Ameriprise financial advisor. In 2011, he received third place in the Willamette Riders K-Snow riding contest. He's also a talented performer who has appeared at Backfence PDX and United Solo, America's largest solo performance festival in Theater Row, New York. We haven't had Rob here for quite a while, and his original date for this feature was in December, and you remember what happened then. He was supposed to be paired with Mike G, and we all know what happened here in December. We're really glad to present him for you here tonight. I think you're really going to enjoy it. Please say hello to Rob Katsuno.
You want to change the next thing?
I don't think so. For me, it looks good. Thank you. All right. I'm awarded a scholarship to attend a boarding school near Santa Barbara at age 14. My roommate, Jeff, makes fun of me by obsessing over Godzilla. He asked me, why does Godzilla only use his fire breath? Why doesn't he use his laser eyes more? And after soccer practice, he always plays the heavy metal song, Go Go Godzilla. One day, he offers me some food, which sounds nice, but it isn't. It's lutefisk. I ask him, what's lutefisk? He says, codfish pickled in lye. What's lye? Drain opener. Drain opener? Lutefisk is sushi, man. Sushi from the Vikings. Vikings ate sushi? You're gonna love it. Not drain opener. Open your mouth, man. And I've been taught to be obedient, right? So I'm like, ah, and he's like, boop. And after a few minutes, my field of vision goes from 180 degrees to 90 degrees to 0, and I pass out. When I come to, I ask Jeff, what happened? He says, I don't know. Your eyes went up into your head, then you just collapsed. You're lucky I caught you before your head hit the floor. Oh, my stomach's feeling bad. Do you want some Tums? No, I don't take medicine. Tums isn't medicine, it's candy. My stomach's hurting, I gotta go. Go where? Please, don't follow me. Where are you going? Shh, go back. What's wrong, man? Jeff's yelling attracts attention while I prepare to do number 2. I hate the dormitory stalls. The doors are gone. The other kids graffiti on the stalls, prompting the headmaster to remove the doors. And my poop stinks the worst in the whole dorm. People don't even see me. When they walk in there, they say, Katsuno must be here, it stinks. And I hate attracting attention. Part of it's cultural. There's a proverb that says, the nail that sticks out gets hammered down. In other words, don't attract attention. And part of it's my father, who teaches me Part of it's my father, a missionary from Japan, who tells me to accumulate hidden virtue, which means to be kind to others without attracting attention. That's why I don't even like good attention. In the 3rd grade, Miss Turner calls to me to the front of class to present an award to me. I stare at the floor, walking to the front. When I turn back, I don't want to see anyone's face, so I turn away from them to pivot and return to my seat facing down. In the 5th grade, my parents visit their friends who have 4 daughters. I'm so shy. I don't want to talk to them. I don't even want to see them. I want to leave, but I don't want my parents to ask me why. And I can't find my shoes, but I don't want anyone to ask me if I'm going somewhere. So I just take off and I walk the 3 miles home barefoot from West Hollywood in Los Angeles to the Wilshire District. I don't like good attention. I hate poop attention. That's why I only do number 2 in the early morning before people wake up. Sometimes I'm sleepy and I skip a day, which can turn into 2 or 3. I hadn't pooped for a week when Jeff's lutefisk made my guts explode like a plugged up flamethrower. That's why I beg Jeff to be quiet, but he doesn't get it. His yelling attracts the attention of Jackson, who shows up, then Colburn and Olds and Vitor and Nashon, and soon there's a whole sea of faces staring at me intently, like, what's going on? Like it's a freaking mystery. The problem is this huge brick that's lodged in my sphincter, super tight. It feels like a Chinese finger trap. The harder I push, the tighter it gets. It hurts so much I start sweating like a pig. And finally, my muscles release and it all just shoots down into the toilet water, splashing up on me and out toward the crowd. The kids in front jump back, and the kids in back surge forward yelling, "What's happening? What's happening?" Until someone yells out, "Gas attack! Poison gas attack!" Then my roommate Jeff says, "Rob, that was a nuclear Godzilla shit, man." I become known across campus as the dude who shat the Godzilla shit. And I'm smarter than all of my dorm mates. But I didn't know that shat is the past tense of shit until they start calling me that. And if only I could have fun with it, roll with it. Instead, I feel deeply ashamed. A succession of embarrassing failures makes me want to become someone who commands people's respect. It would be many, many years later before I find embracing failure commands the most respect of all. Okay. I'm from Japan. My wife, Daniela, is from Rio de Janeiro. Daniela says she's willing to make fun of herself and others for a laugh. Like, she predicts what we're gonna look like when we're older. She says that I'm gonna look like a stick, like my skinny father, and she's gonna look like a pear, like her mother. And then when we hold hands walking down the street, she's gonna look like a fat pear using a cane. We've been married a few years when she says that she wants a dog. I'm very practical, which is a code word for frugal, which is a code word for cheap. So I say, let's visit the Humane Society. And Daniela says, no, she wants a pure breed. Or she says, I don't want no scumbag brand of dog. So I get her a Shih Tzu puppy dog, which I put in a box on the kitchen table. And upon seeing the dog, Daniela immediately starts sobbing. And her knees crumple and she looks up and she cries, "Thank you." A few months later, we go on a road trip with my parents. I tell Daniela we can't bring our dog Bubba because the reservation we made doesn't accept pets. And Daniela says, "Are you crazy? Bubba's like the son I never had. If I'm leaving anyone at home, it's gonna be you." So we arrive to our motel room, and Daniela hides Bubba in the bathroom while we unpack the rest of our car. And suddenly, Bubba starts to howl like, "Ow! Ow!" And Daniela freaks out because the sign at the front of the motel says, "No pets allowed." So Daniela goes up to the window from inside of our room, slides the window open, puts her face up to the window screen, and Daniela says, "Ow! Ow!" So, as I mentioned, my parents are with us, staying in the same room, because we're all on this trip together, and as I said, I'm very practical, right? Now, Daniela says that my father looks just like E.T. But she always qualifies that saying, a super handsome E.T. And also, my father loves to have nightmares. He loves nightmares. So the next evening, we're in a deep sleep after hiking all day. And my father has a nightmare that he's hiding in a closet with some children to protect them. He sees soldiers approaching through the crack between the doors. He slams open the doors and screams so loud that the soldiers run away. That's in his dream, right? In real life, he slams his arms down on the bed, sits straight up, and screams as loud as he can, "Bah!" And then Daniela wakes up to this wide-eyed, flipped-out, E.T.-looking 80-year-old Japanese man screaming at her, and Daniela yells back, "Ow!" And that's when I decide next time we're going to get separate rooms. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rob. Very great to have you back here. And next we're going to hear from Linda Evans. Come on up, Linda.
Yeah!
In going through my book, I saw a poem, and I said, "Is this your poem, Joyce?" Joyce looked at it. "I don't know." And so we read it, and he said, "Have we read it any place?" And not that I know of. So this is a poem. It was written in March 12th in 15. It never got read. The title of it is The Beast of Burden Fairy Tale. Once upon a time, long, long ago, there was a horse and a donkey. They fell in love. The two lovers had a child. And this child wasn't half-ass bed. The child was half-ass. The half-ass of a horse's ass. And put together was a mule. Now this mule was stubborn. That's why this mule ran for president. This president of the Horse Sense Society. Now, Congressional Barn of Horses had no common sense, let alone horse sense. So they said no to the mule, even though the mule said, "Yes, we can." The Horse Sense Society liked to kick ass. They couldn't do a half-assed job, so they decided to hire a bitch. This bitch was the son we all know. and she wasn't going to let anyone kiss her ass. So the bitch ran for president against the mule. And that's when the world went to the dogs. The bitch married the mule in an unholy matrimony of a gender confusion. Nevertheless, they lived happily ever after in a land far, far away until the mule met Shrek. But that's another tale.
I'm not sure if I'm going to be the same after tonight's reading. You guys you're cracking my head right open. Someone who, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe is reading for us for the first time, so please give a warm welcome to Gary Suda. Is that correct, Gary? First time here at Ghost Town, so.
First, I'd like to say that poetry isn't my medium. I work in another art form, and I shared with another person here tonight that I was at a presentation about a month ago for a show that I was part of. And the judge who was presenting the awards commented to the 2D and 3D artists that it wasn't those that won prizes, it was just the passion of so many artists coming together, sharing their work, and the courage that it takes to do that. And I'm just honored to be with courageous people in poetry at the moment. This world needs us, and the time is right for each of us sharing our own voice. And it's just a moment of my own thoughts, separate from what I'm going to read in just a moment. So the poems I'm reading, the title of the overall piece, they're called Poems from a City Without a War. And I live in Battleground here in Washington. I've lived here about a year now. And I found it amusing that the city I live in is a city that's named Battleground, but obviously those of you that have lived here are aware that there was no battle. And I've always found that interesting. The first poem is called Daybreak. The lift of morning, caught between dense fog of coffee's kiss and first light, the hydrangea lumbers up the red brick wall, its green fingers counting the days and weeks. Years from now, will it remember this first light and how I heard you breathing? The second poem is called Medicare. Wrapped in wrinkled fog gray, a benign love affair with ibuprofen. The ropes swing across Miller Creek snaps. Another vertebrae remembers. Road map of scar lines, dissolving sutures like memories. Anesthesia, amnesia. Why am I wearing this swimsuit? Creases smile, breath exhales, caught between jelly beans and harbored dreams. And the last poem is called The Hourglass. Tucked in beneath high humidity, assembling minutes, hours, and drowsing years, mites of sand passing through the crimped breach, tumbling upon the last thought. Grain and I meet, pass each other by, and chase the next horizon, while raindrops swell against the time-worn glass. Thank you.
When you get back to Battleground, let them know that the Battleground poets will always be welcome here in Ghost Town. You could send them over to ask what Ghost Town means.
No ghosts here.
And no ghosts in this room anyway, right? Yeah. So, and now we're going to... Sorry? Oh. Next, we're going to hear from Greg Bai. Come on up, Greg.
Hi, I'll try to keep this short and sweet. I'm not good with spontaneity, so I always write my intro out. Okay, in April, my reading at Ghost Town Poetry was drawn from a couple of phone calls I'd made several years earlier to a late friend's mother. Tonight, I will close the circle, so to speak, and read two short pieces associated with the daughter of my late friend, Susan Joy. Susan Joy was a New York-based artist and writer. She studied illustration at the School of Visual Arts in Manhattan with teachers such as comic book superstars Will Eisner and Art Spiegelman. She knew Basquiat and Keith Haring personally. Susan Joy was also, to paraphrase William Burroughs, a writer. Plays, short stories, literary criticism, articles on herbs, you name it, essays, letters, and material for spoken word performances. This is a short piece on one of her favorite subjects, chocolate. Chocolate is good. Chocolate is amazing. Chocolate is useful. Chocolate is sensuous. Chocolate is yummy. Chocolate is good melted. Chocolate is good semi-melted. Chocolate is good solid and hard. Chocolate is good to share. Chocolate is good to indulge in. Chocolate is good with other foods. Chocolate is sweet. I can't live without chocolate. So, someone go out to the store and buy me some chocolate. Chocolate is my favorite. She also studied theater and drama, acted in plays too. While attending workshops, instructors often advised her to work on transcending her New York accent in order to be considered for more parts at auditions. I'm not sure if she ever succeeded completely in the transcendence. However, in this piece, she flaunts it. This is called Tolkien's Galadriel in Bronx patois. And now at last it comes. You will give me the ring freely. In place of the Dark Lord, you will set up a queen. And I ain't gonna be dark, but beautiful and terrible as the morning and the night. Fair as the sea and the sun and the snow upon the mountain. Dreadful as the storm and the lightning. Stronger than the foundations of the earth. All shall love me and despair. Thank you.
Yes. I think about it a lot. I know that different people are grieving here or missing people, and I feel like we honor the dead by living, you know. So I think that's a real sweet tribute that you paid to your friend. Thank you for doing that. And now we're going to hear from someone else who's here for the first time. I met him recently. Really glad to know him. Please give a warm Ghost Town welcome to Alex. Document.
All right. So, my name is Alex. I hate poetry. Never wanted to write anything a day in my life. 2013, I wrote a book about personal experiences being a victim of government non-consensual human experimentation. Some shit that most people will never even believe. Shortly after publishing my book, several people have committed mass shootings within the United States. And this was distinctly their motive. You know, they didn't say the girlfriend was the problem. They didn't say that, you know, I'm just hearing voices. They distinctly said, I am a victim of this type of government conspiracy, not theory, but government conspiracy, non-consensual human experimentation. It's an extension of Project MKUltra, which was exposed in the Supreme Court in 1985. They call it behavior modification. So what part of the human body actually controls your behavior, your mind? And some people try to believe mind control isn't real, but there are several technologies that you may hear throughout this. I can't even really call it a poem, I just kind of was like ranting. So kind of rhymes every now and then, you know, if you can just nod your head, you know, agree with it, it's okay. You know, but like brain-computer interface technology. University of Washington is working on prototypes of this technology where they can transfer brain waves from one human to another via the internet and control your thoughts. They can control your arm movements. So that's something that's going to be very dangerous within the future, and it's already dangerous now. So I call this poem The Truth. People live their life by sayings like, hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil, believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. These words you hear, even when spoken clear, might fall deaf on some ears. I woke up to inspiration when I heard Van Jones sign the Rock Nation for activism. Perhaps I can turn this cataclysm of my life into an opportunity to get back everything taken from me. Because I can rock a nation with factual information about the messy truth of being a victim of directed energy attacks. You probably asking, what's that? Something I seen on TV? Believe me, there's no theory conjoined with this conspiracy. It's literally an atrocity committed by the CIA and military, converting microwave frequencies into voice of God weaponry, wireless brain-computer interface biohacking technology, attacking our anatomy with something you can't see. They got us willing to kill for free will. So for our freedom, we'll make blood spill. How would you feel if the only reason you failed is because you're a victim of a crime you can't tell, forcing your life to be a living hell, and everywhere you seek help is to no avail? I'm a prisoner without bail in a virtual cell, and this voice I hear in my brain and the pain I'm feeling ain't a genetic disorder. It's effects from a person who's attacking me with voice of God weaponry. So what's the use of popping a bill of fire? My mental illness diagnosis is a lie. I'm a victim of technological abuse nowadays with a short fuse, feeling like if I can't live my life, neither can you. So I'm gonna unload this laundry and watch the truth of this conspiracy unfold in Jesse the Body Ventura's Brain Invaders episode, while thinking to myself, wow, after 30 years of this, and Brain Invaders have mercy for me, like Rafael Sanchez did for Murcielago. So since they didn't, I'm advocating vindication for Esteban Santiago, because I should be pulling up to Mar-a-Lago while blowing dro in my Murcielago with the bull facing me like I'm a matador, or laying bull manure I endure as a victim of directed energy attacks. Aaron Alexis was an information technician, unable to troubleshoot hacks into his anatomy with technology based on Navy defense contractor Dorn and Morgellons' 1976 patent for remotely altering brain waves became his motive for going to work spraying co-workers with a 12 gauge. And subsequently, the same reason, after everything was taken from me and I couldn't get a response about my resume on Indeed, as a last resource to get what I need, I was driving a Lexus with $100,000 worth of weed, avoiding being poor by any means. Leading to an unfortunate meeting with a trooper in Pampa, Texas, put me in a shitty situation, and his voice in my head causing me more frustration, reminded me of how I would have avoided this if he hadn't tortured me and taken $1.3 million from me before I was 30, forcing me to be destitute. Brain invaders treated me worse than a pimp does a prostitute. I would have rather got caught up in New Mexico, because at least I'd had a chance for Myron May to represent me as a victim of the same conspiracy, got a missing this lady, going to FSU library with a 380. I know people think I'm crazy when revealing the messy truth of what made these mass shooters shoot, but I'm doing this for me and suffering victims of this atrocity, so I don't give a fuck about you.
Hey man, if all the people that hate poetry could write like that, the world would be a different place, man. Keep hating it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, if that's what results from hating poetry, keep hating that shit. Okay, now we're gonna hear from Bob Sunshine.
Poem Purrs. That's the title. Poem per soldier, battle won. Poem per thread, a carpet spun. Poem per drop, a storm appears. Poem per leaf, elephant ears. Poem per animal, arc full. Poem per poet, pencil pull. Tick tock, tick tock, tick, time talk. Cuckoo, cuckoo, 2 o'clock. Tick, 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 metronome. Dong, 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 Big Ben syndrome. Sermon defended, dear John, unexpected erection, inescapable, now clear, ironic initial fear. Tidal wave tried to turn tide, serious error blow dried, misplaced confessions allege, crack began to show gilt edge. Indecisive fluttered Eve, offended when asked to leave. Inclement weather, God sneezed, rather vulgar, spinning wheezed. Heredity's betrayal, discretion demoted dull, behind back, baggage bear with, ever-present monolith. Quiet please, begging last straw, rendered helpless God foresaw, busted bubble, baited, busted bubble, it says it right here, baffled bait, dead weight displaced, dedicate. It's always nice to hear a poet screw up. Predictable snub then walked, wiping forehead, deathbed stalked. Much ado for the last time, no longer could stomach rhyme. Bravely battled pride's prowess, murmuring heart retrogress, God's last wad reluctant shot, unable to prevent squat. Battered puppet strung, then flung, between bow legs witness hung. Outcome obliged, sitting duck, driving movie speaker stuck. Poet's confession not used, very likely was short fused. Took for a ride face value, lasted till noon, IOU. Melodrama misfortune, curtain lowered on hymen. Welded wish man-made madness, arms above head nonetheless. After he was done with her, warmed up audience with slur, just one encore God saw through, problem solved, the snafu unscrew. And the last one. Write this down, said clown with frown. Painted face, red nose ain't round. Shoes too big, made clumsy thee. Dressed down day, made God lazy. Thank you. Thank you, Christmas.
Okay. Now, I realize that I've said this before, but we have so many new faces that I just want you to know that our next reader is someone that's been with us from the very beginning, so since November 2004. Please say good evening to Jim Martin.
Thank you. I got some help, unwitting help, from both Bob and Mike. Mike, can you hear me now? I'm a shy person. Actually, I really am, but I've learned how to get past it. Mike helped me with lines. And now I can't remember how Bob helped me, but it was something he said. It'll probably come out when I read what I've got. But I want to start with lines. Okay, so, and there will be a quiz right after. I really got upset when our president, and I've got a picture of this, at a news event, held out his fingers like this and said, "What is 1 degree centigrade? What difference does that make?" And because he doesn't think that's important, he withdrew from the climate change agreement, the global climate change agreement. And so I went to the EPA website and wanted to get some data, climate data. And I found out that just, I think it was yesterday, that Pruitt, the new EPA administrator, shut down all the data. Nobody has any access to data now. And they're going to think about what they'll let us see. So I brought this up, and this is an older one that I had, and it's a graph of CO2 and temperature over the last 400,000 years, at least this part here. And I want you to look at this because that's just what one of my poems is about. If you look at the top here, these curves go up and then they stop and they go back down again. They go up and then they stop and they go down again. So they're acting like a thermostat. When it gets too hot, then the planet starts cooling. When it gets too cold, then it warms back up again. And so all the time, it's never been above 300 parts per million of CO2. Right now, on this graph, this was a couple of years ago, it was just below 400 parts per million. I checked it today at the NOAA, I think it was NOAA, and it's today, on June 4, it is 409.68 ppm, parts per million CO2. Now that's all a bunch of scientific jive and may not sound like much, but look at the curve. It's always gone up and down, up and down, up and down to these degrees. Now we're twice as high and actually moving more than twice as high in CO2. And the president says those things don't matter. I've been a scientist. I know that when curves go up this high, when they do correct, they tend to undershoot and then come back up. This area right in here is where you have glaciation, and when you get down a little bit further, you have ice ages. And so when we get down about here, some generations from now, to me that's serious business, and somebody ought not to say 1 degree doesn't mean a thing. So I decided to start writing about that. Okay, now I need my glasses. I see friends on the street and I don't recognize them. I see them wave, and I wave back, and I put my glasses on. Oh. It's hard to learn some things as you grow old. The first is a poem. Both of these I've just written, so I'm not sure about them, but I wanted to read them. Ignorance is a powerful force. And whenever I think of Trump, that's what I think of. Ignorance is a powerful force. Thermostat. Lower set point turns on furnace. Tick. Upper set point turns it off. Talk. Like clockwork. Ah, the tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock that Bob said. Maintains habitability on the planet. Tick warm, talk cool. Then tick, furnace earth heats, upper set point decides to sleep. Talk silent now. Clock sound, what do we hear? Regular beat, millennia after millennia. Then irregular. Now upper set point, tick, snores. We wonder, argue, deny. Shouldn't we stop and think? Is talk, our lower set point, stable? Or is it now like tick, asleep? What then? In our ignorance, time talks. Tick-tock, 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 tick, 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 tick. Where the talk? Gone, broken, asleep. So that's that one. And if we're going to do anything about this, all of us need to learn more about ecosystems to help us to have a context within which we understand global warming and responses to it. And this poem, I'm trying to be less like a scientist, and so this is a short poem about something, the similar thing, the same thing, but from a different point of view. I and my heart sing a quiet duet. Above, whispered, soft voice of the breeze filters through leaves. On their edges, singing leaves deep within my own self. An harmonic voice traces the travels of air, moving soft along the edge of a riparian leaf. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.